I had to do this video again. The H.V.N.Y. coming to you live and direct from Hammer Valley, New York. What did I just watch? Nuno. Why are you. Nuno has to know what he's doing wrong. This is ridiculous. Everton, this is why I didn't celebrate that win with as much um with as much joy as other people did, because that was something that, by and large, had it not been for that last moment where, you had Kyle Walker Peters, Diouf, um, Bowen, and Callum Wilson, all timing wise on the front foot, just in that moment. You have that, you don't win the game. And the funny thing is as much as it pains me to say it, there's nothing really wrong with anybody who has, if you're a Moyes, West Ham guy, that's cool, whatever. Not my particular style of football, but Moyes wins that game all day, um, because he would not play the likes of Pablo for 90 minutes. Now, I felt like we started the game okay, um, but Pablo, you could just see out the gate, he was slow. He was incredibly slow. Um, Diouf was made made some devastating mistakes. We had you know everybody's saying the ref this, penalties that. Yeah, that aside, I still don't think we would have gotten out of that. And it was all in how Nuno sets up. He does the 4-4-2 tried and true, and that is just about as predictable as 442 bacon cheeseburgers that you eat, and then trying to go out and play a football game like that is, as predictable as, having a potential heart attack on the pitch. And watching the game is some heart attack inducing stuff. Um, this was horrifying. By the 15th, 16th minute, it was like, oh, God, this is not going to, once we get one goal up on us, the polarity shifts. And, Nuno threw his toys on the floor for Traore to come across the line. Why is he not using him? And why is it that when he makes a substitution, he takes out the one guy that's actually been showing a bit of threat more so than some of the others out there, Taddy, and you bring him off, and you bring on Wilson for him to go out there and run Pablo for 90 minutes. This was Nuno keeps making the same mistake. We played right into Brentford's hands. And everybody being like, "Well, Brentford's good. Brentford's good." If we had played more on the front foot, if we had Areola in goal, if we had Traore starting, because he was looking great in that second half for the little bit in his cameo that he was. Wilson didn't really get an opportunity to show himself, but again, I also believe that Wilson is more of a better off the bench, because he gets to assess the game and sees where some of the gaps are. And I believe they dropped to a back three in the second half when Traore came on, because he signaled to them to do that. And we actually looked better with a with a back three and Traore in the mix of things. But yeah, that was just those changes. We need to come. We've become entirely too predictable. It's like, dare I say this, but Moyes ball would have beaten Brentford today over Nuno ball by a country mile. And everybody was saying, "You're being negative. You got to back Nuno. You got to look." I have nothing personal against the guy, but he's making my team lose. Stop. Like, he's continually making the same mistake over and over and over again, and it's putting energy into the wrong areas. We had no pace, no urgency, no ability to do a 1v1. We had no precipitating progressive passages of play. There were some little bits and pieces here and there, but then again, does that win games? Do crossbars win games? Do hits off the post win games? No, those aren't goals. Dia at one point had it wide open for a goal, and Hermanson when Tiago went up to shoot the penalty, it was clear what he was going to do, and Hermanson dived at the oh my ah and that situation with Mav, I don't blame Mav for. I blame Diaf because it should have never precipitated to that. Mav, and none of the players had a blinder today, but you know it, it's unbelievable, and everybody's blaming the refs and everything. Look, the VAR police comes for all of us. It's like the Reaper. Like if guaranteed if we've had a bit of fortune on our side, at one point Paulson is going to pull that noise on us later. But nevertheless, this wasn't even this wasn't even an it wasn't like we were up against if we had approached this differently and put the ball in the back of the net, played a 4-3-3. What in the world is wrong with playing a 4-3-3 and switching it up? People are saying, there's not enough creativity. Evidently, there is some degree of creativity that we're seeing when you have the likes of, you know, Taddy Castellanos, who was given, you know, given his best out there. And he's the one that's showing the most promise, and we're bringing him off instead of Pablo. This was a revert back to type. But then again, did we ever leave factory settings? It just so happens to be that Callum Wilson is the common denominator as to why we've stayed up, stayed in the race, and Bowen was, oh God, this was not it today, fellas. This was not it. I needed this one to be the, you know, Geo. Shout out to Hammer's Chat. Shout out to Hammer's Chat Forum, all the channels. But he made a great point. That he pretty much, this this won't hold. Essentially, this style won't hold. But more so, I'm still nervous about things because I don't know where I was going with that, but I'm just at a loss of words right now. But what was it that Geo said that was very important to remember? That you guys always say important things, but I'm not trying to parrot what you say. But this is this is just ridiculous, though, man. Like we second half, it didn't look any better. It looked worse. It looked worse. Forget XG, man. Like what XG means what? When we're getting absolutely slayed. It's oh my gosh. This is I'm afraid it's going to come down to the line. It's going to come down to the line. We need to win these games, and these are not games that are deemed winnable. Arsenal. Look who we're going up against. Arsenal, Newcastle. It's we have to win those games, and the crazy thing is Potter won against Arsenal, and I'm not advocating for Potter ever, but he knew the way to go with that at the time. And you had Aaron Wan-Bissaka who was bombing up the sides, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he came out, but he had a couple of teeny bits of play, but there was nothing promising. He just knocked into somebody else and fell over. I mean, what is this? What in the world is this? This is not. This is why the Everton game I could not celebrate because it felt like we had gotten away with robbery. We most definitely did. And I don't know if we're gonna have to depend on again the results of a Villa versus Spurs game. And Villa are up for it, and Villa don't want to lose. But I'm pretty sure the Spurs don't want to either. And I'm also tired of riding other teams' luck or misfortune. It's not. Ah, man. Nuno, like it's not a one size fits all thing. Like what works for one team is not going to work for every single team. And I was worried that like the positive results coinciding with the change in form would be interpreted as, oh yeah, we're gonna go forward with this one. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. No. Yeah, that seems like a good idea. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Yeah. That he just doesn't Paco, how in the world is Paco not yoking him up right now and being like, or taking him to the side and be like, come on, we got to do this, man. We can't be Paco. How are you co-signing this? And I hope, with Nuno, just the faith is not there at the moment. And I know that he knows that this is not going to work. After the after the third bungle from Diaf, we should have had him out and Traore in. And Castellanos should have been in there at the same time as Wilson. And why not start a game like that? I was saying before, Wilson's better as an impact sub because I believe he assesses the game off the bench, sees the gaps. Well, maybe this was the game to go 4-3-3, bomb forward, have Wilson, have Taddy, and have Bowen. And even Bowen wasn't really up for it, having Somerville bombing forward. Somerville was getting cracked upside the head, dude. This was this was tough. This was ah. If we think we need to go up against Arsenal and really hope to God that something comes of that because this is this is this isn't the great escape. This is the great this is sliding into home base and hoping that the tie goes to that the umpire didn't see that we were actually out when we were safe, or that we were actually out and calls us safe. It's almost like I feel like we've swindled these results, and this is given buoyancy to Nuno to be like, my systems are gonna work. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna do that every time. Yeah, yeah, stop. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Yeah. It's like you're not Bob Ross out there painting happy little trees. Oh yeah, we're just gonna do a little of this and that. And what happened with Areola, man? Like Hermanson, that penalty. We knew which way he was going with it, and he dived in the opposite direction. What in the world? Areola gets that, saves that all day. Even that little mistake that flicked off of Mav, nothing should have precipitated up to that point. This is just ridiculous, and I think, yeah, I had to redo this video because I said Caddy was showing more promise than any of them, but then again, I didn't see much promise from really any of them today, and it's because this falls on Nuno. Because Nuno, eh, if it ain't broke, break it further. His managerial philosophy. Go so defensive that we're playing timid football. Unbelievable, man. This was the game. Well, Gio said this. He said, Everton wasn't the game to be convinced that we could stay up with it. Brentford is going to be the one that'll be the deciding factor of whether or not we stay up. And I agree with that. But anyhow, let me know what you think in the comments. This is just, I can't go play by play with this because this was like a root canal. This was slow surgery that Brentford pulled on us on that pitch. And it's all because of Nuno's inability to learn and move and maneuver and change things. There's no creativity. Not on the not and we're running Pablo for 90 minutes and we're complaining about Callum not having legs. Callum, I guarantee you, if you put him in the beginning of that game, would have crashed a goal in and shifted the polarity. Once we get one goal against us, that's the end of the game. Under Nuno ball, that's the end of the game, pretty much. We're lucky that we came back some of the times that we did. But there was no drive. And how can you when it's the same thing over and over again, man? Come on, you Irons. I don't know what's going to happen. Are we going to pull the same move that we pulled against Man City? Oh, wait, we already tried that again on other teams and it didn't work because it's not a one size fits all model. And that was not the proof that your way works, Nuno. We have to attack, man. Attacking is our best defense. But we also have to get finishers out there, not a wandering. And this is nothing against the guy. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. But Pablo, he looks like a lost Labrador out there, like a lost Labrador pup. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, he had flicks and tricks." You know, a couple bits of play that were this, that, and the third. No, 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 no. Nuno, you threw your toys on the floor for Traore. You could have brought him on. You could have brought on. Oh man, you shoulda, coulda, woulda. It doesn't even matter. Brentford 3, West Ham 0. You boys better be ready to play and win every game down the line. And I don't mean you boys as in, the team. Yeah, there's some culpability on the players, but you know what? When you're playing that style of football, I feel like a broken record. Come on, you Irons, IDHVNY. Man, come on, you Irons, man. Last week we had Socek looking like the Czech version of Bonzo out there, and people are making the comparison to him. What happened this game, dude? I don't know where we're headed right now. This is like, I don't know where we're headed. Relegation. Come on, you Irons, get out of this. Nuno, you gotta stop this, man. You gotta stop this. This is crazy that now it's come down to every game counts. I mean, every game is always counted, but you haven't really played like that, have you? You've gone back, you've quivered, you've been afraid to push forward. Nuno bottles it every time. It's timid hermit crab football. Potter knew how to beat teams like Arsenal. You better know how to beat a team like Arsenal. Come on, you Irons. And Potter, with his summer camp of, having pancake eating competitions out there, enough's enough. Enough is enough. We got to do this. We got to do this. I don't trust Nuno at the current moment. I trust Paco. Paco, take the wheel. Do something. Come on, you Irons.